This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're gonna acknowledge me.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the main event review. So thank you very much for tuning in today. Obviously, given that we've had Saturday night's main event, which is different to the main event show, we're going to be breaking down the two matches that occurred on main event, and I'm going to try not to confuse you guys here, but also just break down the results that occurred on Saturday night's main event as well. Reason being is obviously due to the fact that most of the stuff that happened on Raw and SmackDown have been addressed. So what I like to tend to do on this show is when there is a PLE, we sort of just review the PLE and also the main event matches. That way we're not resurfacing the Raw and SmackDown stuff that's occurred, because obviously by the time of this recording, the outcomes have already been done based on, I wouldn't call Saturday night's main event a PLE, but in normal cases when the PLE has concluded. So we'll break down that accordingly. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get underway with it. So the first match being Maxxine Dupri taking on Ivy Nile here. So Maxxine Dupri once again getting another main event match, singles match, as they continue to develop her character, prepare her on live shows. And she's looking more confident as the weeks goes by. And I think that's the main thing that Maxxine Dupri needs to be doing. Not necessarily winning matches, but just looking like she belongs and that she can obviously perform there. There was a bit of a botch. I'm not sure if it was part of the match storyline, but when she did try to pin Ivy Nile, the crowd thought that she won, but the shoulders were up. So not sure if that's actually Ivy Nile's job to keep the shoulders down or Maxxine to push her down and pin her properly. But that was probably a sort of botch that I think Maxxine needs to work on as well, but good on the ref for not counting with the shoulders up. But that occurred, and then Ivy Nile ended up getting the victory here. And obviously, I think Maxxine hasn't defeated Ivy Nile yet. So those two had a personal rivalry last year, being friends, and then obviously her being part of Alpha Academy. Ivy Nile turning on Maxxine Dupri once she joined Chad Gable with American Made. And since then, Ivy Nile hasn't done anything significant. So maybe they might just put her around the Intercontinental Championship again. But her winning, I think, does give her momentum, but nothing really of any substance or importance onto that will reflect onto the main show either. As for Maxxine Dupri, as mentioned at the start, it's just something that continues to occur with her, just developing in main event and yeah, getting her confidence up. So I don't think she needed to win the match per se, but again, just some more in-ring experience for her. I'm wondering what's happening with her and Natalya. They still haven't been on the tag team scene yet. Obviously, they formed a tag team, but it hasn't led to anything significant either. So maybe we might see those two team up, maybe on main event or on a show moving forward. But we'll have to wait and see. Not too much of any substance there. Then we get the second match of the night, which was Cruz del Toro taking on the War Raiders. The War Raiders getting the victory here with the War Machine. A pretty back and forth match. This one went for pretty long. I did enjoy the spots in this one, especially I do love LWO's athleticism. They do a really good job in putting moves on, move sets. They're pretty good in ring. The only problem with them, and I continue to say it, is they don't really have much connection with the fans. So it's really hard to get behind them. But in terms of kind of their athletic abilities and their in-ring, they're really good. But War Machine, for that matter alone, gets the victory here. Believe that they're going to be having a chance to fight for the championships again with that triple threat match on at Raw. So definitely some good momentum there. Do I think they'll win the championship? I do not think so. I think that the New Day will retain. But the War Raiders continue to be a staple tag team on Raw. And a division that is probably much needed on Monday Night Raw. I look at SmackDown and how good the division is right there. And I just think that place would be a perfect spot for them as well. When it comes to the tag team championships, I do like the concept of them being on separate brands, but I find that one brand always dominates the other. And in the case of a tag team with such limited teams, it's really hard to, I guess, have a strong division in both brands. I think for SmackDown, it's good how they're focusing on tag team championships alone, or tag teams alone in that division. But I find with Raw, it's really hard to have a tag team staple at the moment. Obviously, the New Day's there. Obviously, we've got the War Raiders. You've got American Made. But other than that, there really isn't any other teams that are possessing any threat. And normally what happens is a new built faction, which we'll talk about factions once we review Saturday Night's main event, or temporary form tag teams tend to win these belts, like two big single superstars teaming up together. And I think that's what's missing in Raw at the moment. I think Raw really needs a tag team, world tag team champion. If it's not the New Day, if it's someone moving forward, it definitely needs tag teams. If we take away championships, tag teams that are formed from two big superstars or from factions. So maybe we'll see that moving forward, but that's just something that I think Raw needs, or else SmackDown is the division right now that's better for tag teams, especially with the plethora of tag teams they have on that side of the brand. So again, I don't see the War Raiders in the case for them alone winning the championship for Raw, but again, to make that a bit more spicier, we need more tag teams. I think even for the War Raiders to have something significant. I know they're feuding with the New Day at the moment, but eventually that's going to end, and the New Day is going to move on to different things as well. And yeah, that pretty much concludes main event. I think for Raw, that the one thing that happened that probably wasn't related to Saturday Night's main event was Rhea Ripley getting the victory over Zoe Stark and the return of Kairi Sane, who Kairi Sane did a pretty good job on her return. Not sure if she's teaming up with Io Sky on Damage Control, but I did mention this a few episodes back that I would love to see Kairi Sane getting a feud with Io Sky. I think that would be super interesting. Maybe turning Kairi Sane heel, being jealous of Io Sky or something, just to make those matters kind of spicy. But Rhea Ripley gets the win to no one's surprise, and she'll be qualifying for the Money in the Bank ladder match there. Yes, so now getting into basically main event. So the first match, or Saturday Night's main event, the first match being CM Punk and Sami Zayn taking on Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. Obviously, Sami Zayn was the fall guy here, taking the pin after a crazy super steer from Bron Breakker. But what was more, I wouldn't say surprising, but what was probably the whole purpose of this match was to introduce the new member to this new faction, and that was Big Bronson Reed, the fellow Aussie from Blacktown, South Australia, obviously getting injured in that Survivor Series match. He has joined the fold with the team here, with Seth Rollins, with Bron Breakker, and with Paul Heyman. How it started was basically Paul Heyman injecting into the match with Sami Zayn, and as the way it was kind of sort of set up, it looked like Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman were talking, and for 1 second, I thought that was going to be the moment where Sami Zayn turned heel, and I think creative did a great job in kind of giving us this angle and making us kind of fantasize over it. But it wasn't the case. Sami Zayn doesn't join, and I didn't think he was going to join, but it's just the camera work there and that interaction made me feel as though, or question whether that was going to happen or not. But it didn't. Bronson Reed ends up jumping the barricade and putting CM Punk through another barricade with a crossbody. That led to Sami Zayn being distracted, and then the spear. And then as Bronson Reed gets into the ring, Bron Breakker pulls his straps down, thinking that they're going to go head-to-head. And Seth Rollins then hugs Bronson Reed, which he hugs him back. And then Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed end up shaking hands too. So a new member to the team. I think the right and perfect member there. Obviously, Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed had their feuds. But if you look back to the reason why the feud happened, was because Bronson Reed wanted to make a name for himself. He mentioned that it was never personal with Sami Zayn, despite obviously really attacking him viciously with a lot of tsunamis and having that backstage kind of segment as well. They end up teaming up, and it's going to be great to see how they go. As for Bron Breakker, again, obviously we know this faction's not going to last, but it's just interesting how Bron Breakker wasn't kind of aware of the play. And maybe he's happy about it, but you can tell that the way he reacted wasn't too pleasant. Obviously, guards up, thinking that he's going to have to fight with Bronson Reed, and then Seth Rollins basically embracing him and telling him to step down, which was quite interesting too. But again, Paul Heyman pulls some more strings. Can't wait for Raw to really see Bronson Reed address himself. It's so good to see him back. It was such a big unfortunate event at Survivor Series for him to get injured. I really was hoping to see him do something at WrestleMania. I'm also glad he's not part of the Bloodline as well. Just makes things a lot more easier there, and Bronson Reed is kind of focused on this side of the brand and with Paul Heyman. And it's great because we're seeing another Australian get put on the map, and they're really investing into Bronson Reed at the moment. You can tell. So that was pretty awesome. We then get the match between, I'm pretty sure it was Zelina Vega taking on Chelsea Green, which I thought there was really no point of getting this match out. It felt rushed, and we all know about the botch with the kick and the failed 619, getting Chelsea Green bloodied all over. But Zelina Vega gets the victory here, no surprise, and that hopefully gets Chelsea Green outside the United States feud, because I was kind of getting over them too, just feuding and fighting for this title. And maybe getting her on, and maybe getting Chelsea Green onto bigger and better things, and that might be the Money in the Bank ladder match. But I digress. Zelina Vega getting the victory. Doesn't seem like she's really doing much with the title. They need to change her music so bad. It literally sounds exactly like the SmackDown theme, and I just can't stand it. Like, I think get her a new song, get her a new entrance music, and sort of just make this a bit more relevant. I'm really hoping that. Well, Julia pinned her, so I'm hoping that Julia and her can have a feud, and then maybe they take the title off her and give it to Julia, because, yeah, I don't think anyone's really keen on a Zelina Vega run, if I'm honest. So, yeah, that match went for like 5 minutes. Obviously, with the advertisement and the commercial breaks, they probably were rushing through this, but I just don't think that this match, there was any point of having this match there. It might have been just to really, like, kind of like tame the crowd, just like a kind of TV break one. But again, it could have left room for the other matches that obviously were rushed on, you could tell. So anyways, Zelina gets the victory there. We then have John Cena taking on R-Truth, and man, R-Truth kills me. I got to get my hands on that R-Truth merch, Ron Cena. That was hilarious. But he came out to some old school John Cena merch with his music, and basically his role here was to play the John Cena face persona as the guy that sprints into the ring, throws the three hands up, and pretty much runs the ropes when he comes in. That was just awesomely executed, and it was no better than R-Truth to do that. At a stage, obviously, John Cena, maybe just to fool us all, kind of questioned what he was doing as he brought the title up, and R-Truth told him to basically stop. But as the ref puts the title back, John Cena hits him in the nuts, and then hits a AA and gets the victory here. The match was what it's supposed to be. I know a lot of people weren't happy with the time, but again, this was a filler match, and it led to the events that happened moving on. But it was great to just see R-Truth just put on the John Cena persona and kind of just make everyone laugh with that. And John Cena himself continuing to be that heel. And again, when the match did conclude, he basically went up to Jey Uso and said that what would ruin wrestling is him losing his title to a YouTuber, and that he'd be watching on, and wished him the best of luck. But before that, we do get the match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, a steel cage match, and basically, I forgot the name of the move, but pretty much Edge's old move with Damian Priest hitting Drew McIntyre with the chair on his head, getting the victory here by walking out of the cage, which was a big surprise. And I'm also surprised that Drew McIntyre didn't win this match. I did see that Drew McIntyre is going to take a lot of time off, and that's maybe why. And he does need a break. He's put the company on his back for a long time. He's worked really hard. He does deserve a break, but yeah, if he wasn't obviously battered and bruised, I would definitely have not given the victory to Damian Priest. But again, this might be something good for Damian Priest. It might elevate him to contending for championships in the future as well. But again, I would have booked Drew McIntyre for this one regardless. Even if he did win, I would have just given him a break anyway. But yeah, that's probably why they gave it to Damian Priest. He gets the victory here, walking out of the cage. Jesse Ventura, who was doing commentary, wasn't too happy with how the outcome of the match was. But again, a victory is a victory nevertheless. But yeah, we're not going to see Drew McIntyre for a while. It did feel like the fans are really gravitating towards him, so maybe we'll see him return as a face. But I think with Drew McIntyre, yes, you can say he's a heel, but I think the way his character is, it's just him being who he is. He doesn't cheat. He wins fairly. He tells the truth, or he likes to say the truth, and people like to hear that. And I don't think there's a need to change him. What I do think there is a need of is for him to be more involved in titles. He's lost now a big feud with CM Punk and now with Damian Priest. I think it's time for him to really get involved in titles. Like, him against John Cena would be fantastic. He's already said what he needs to say about John Cena. He's had feuds with Cody Rhodes. I think that's a feud that could happen down the line as well. There is a lot for Drew McIntyre's character here going forward, and he needs to have a trophy. He needs to have a belt around his waist, in my opinion. And then we finish off with the main event of the show. And at the start, I thought, why would this be the main event? But then obviously the events that transpired made complete sense. John Cena ends up coming into the ring as Jey Uso and Logan Paul are fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. He pulls the referee's legs back as Jey Uso goes for an Uso splash. Tries to attack him. And then out of nowhere, and I didn't actually expect this, I was super surprised, Cody Rhodes comes out. So Cody Rhodes comes out, attacks John Cena, puts him in a crossroads, and as they clear the ring, Logan Paul attempts to hit Cody Rhodes with brass knuckles. He ducks it, and then he eats a spear from Jey Uso. Jey Uso retains the title, and Cody Rhodes straight away calls them both out for a tag team match at Money in the Bank. I think he took the moment from Jey Uso, but then I realized that they were on a strict time, and this is why I didn't want the United States Championship match or Women's Championship match to occur. But Cody Rhodes calls out the match, and that will be official for Money in the Bank. So basically, this match was to set up Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, who are right now, you would say, B1, B2 quarterbacks or faces of the company, taking on John Cena, who's the heel and the current champion, who's going to attempt to ruin wrestling, and then Logan Paul, the YouTuber, who, if he wins the title, will have a YouTuber and John Cena as champions. Imagine that. That would be pretty crazy. It's going to be interesting to see how the promos work. I know there's only a couple weeks away from this match, but just seeing John Cena teaming up with Logan Paul, if they have a few kind of back and forth together, and then obviously Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso teaming up together. What would be super interesting? Obviously, it's not going to happen. But could you just imagine if, like, during the tag team match, Cody Rhodes just turns on Jey Uso, and The Rock comes out, and then he ends up really selling his soul? That would really throw a spanner in the works. But I don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, Cody Rhodes is now called the quarterback of the company, so he's obviously going to play his babyface duties and save wrestling. We'd like to think, but they're going to be obviously prepping up for SummerSlam. Those two are probably going to go at it at SummerSlam. But yeah, it was a good way to end Saturday night's main event. Obviously, the events that happened there and the return of Bronson Reed was pretty much the purpose of this, and it's really good because they're able to kind of give us a vision as to what the future is looking like for WWE, and that does look exciting, and we're going to continue to review and keep up with that as well. But there you have it. That's been my quick main event review and also my Saturday night's main event review as well. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.